Hey everyone, another Friday and welcome to this beautiful, colorful video. Today we're making a salad with fonio. I have already had a recipe out with some steamed fonio and that was using fonio flour. But in this recipe we're going to be using the fonio in its normal form, in its cereal form, and you can see the differences right now. So the first thing that we want to do is to get our fonio ready and then let that cool down before we mix it with all our other ingredients. And so we're going to do that by putting the fonio in some boiling water and then letting that cook or letting that steam. I also added a bit of salt, a little bit of garlic powder and some thyme just to give it some extra flavor because on its own it can be somewhat bland. So we're going to let that cook until the grains are nice and soft. So once that's done, we're going to let the fonio cool down. So the next thing we want to do is to add some seeds, and I used two kinds. The first ones are some sunflower seeds that I toasted, and then I also added some agushi seeds which I also toasted and then added to the salad. It gives it a nice nutty flavor as well as a bit of a crunch, and that is perfect for this salad. So we're just going to toast the two and then set that to the side also to just let them cool down. So once we're all done, we're also going to add some corn. I had some sweet corn and wanted to add that as well. So just boil that, let that cool down as well. We want all of our ingredients to be cool and not hot. We don't want any of the vegetables to wilt or to cook. So we're just going to put the corn to the side as well and then get to cutting all the things that we need to cut. We're going to add some sweet peppers or some bell peppers. So take off the white bits and then cut those into pieces. And then we will also add red onions. I prefer red onions in salads. If you don't have red onions, you can add white onions. I really don't think you should restrict yourself to just using a particular kind of onion. But I do find that these taste nicer in salads as well as give it some beautiful color. So we'll slice these onions and then put them in some vinegar. As usual, just to take off a bit of the sharpness and to add a bit of acid to the salad. So we'll also slice some cucumbers. I took off the skin because the skin was a bit tough. There are certain kinds of cucumbers where you can leave the skin on. This wasn't that kind. I made sure to taste. The seeds were not bitter, so I left them in there and then just sliced the cucumbers into thin slices. I also added some green pawpaws or green papayas. We've got a pawpaw tree in the garden, and it's just an easy way to also add a bit of color and then add a bit of texture. Now, instead of using carrots, I thought it would be nice to use some papaya. These are not super ripe, so they've got a similar crunch and texture and sweetness that you will get from the carrots, but just a little bit more fruity, and that is not too bad. So we're going to slice the pawpaw as well and then put that in the vinegar with the onions. Next up, we're going to get our sweet corn, which is now ready. We're just going to use a knife and then pass that through so that we can separate the kernels. Now that we've got everything together, we're going to mix all our ingredients to make this beautiful, colorful looking salad. So first off, add our fonio, which has now cooled down properly. Make sure to break up any bits that are a bit clumped together, and this should be fairly easy to do. After that, we're going to add on our maize or our corn kernels that we have removed, and then our tomatoes, our bell peppers, as well as our cucumbers, I generally do not like tomatoes in my salad, but these ones were quite firm and quite small, so I tolerated them. This salad doesn't necessarily need a dressing. The fonio has been seasoned quite well. I also seasoned this salad with some black pepper, some salt, some olive oil, and some garlic powder. So that's a lot of flavor in there. Remember that the fonio has some thyme infusion in there, so that all makes it very flavorful. I also had some garlic chives, so I just cut those in there. Now, if you're a meat eater and feel like you need some additional protein, then you can do that. Add some grilled chicken or steak or shrimp or whatever. But to be totally honest, I think this is fine on its own. You don't need any additional protein. I also added some caramelized onions, and they have quite an intense flavor. And so there you have it. Like I said, caramelized onions as well. I have a recipe for that. It's up on the blog. I use the caramelized onions in a bambara burger recipe, which is up on the blog. The papaya gives it a nice little sweetness, as do the caramelized onions. And I'm just totally love struck by the salad. I just really like colorful food. Now, this fonio salad is absolutely amazing. It's got a whole lot of goodness in there. It's strictly vegetarian or even strictly vegan. So if you do want to add some protein, that's your choice. But I try to keep this vegetarian and vegan. It's not everyday fish, it's not everyday chicken. Sometimes just keep it clean. I hope that you enjoyed this recipe. I enjoyed filming it, I enjoyed eating it. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you like my videos. Let me know what you think of my videos in general. And all recipes, as usual, are up on the blog, gingerandseasalt.com. And I will see you next time. Happy eating!